Hello, and welcome to today's session, An Introduction to Mimosa Networks. My name is Rochelle Thompson, and I will be moderating today's session. I would love to turn this over to James Smith, Sales Director for MS Distributions, and he will get us started on today's webinar.
Thank you, Rochelle, and thank you to you all that have logged in today for our Mimosa webinar. I have with me Andrew Westerman, who is the Sales Director for EMEA, and also Mohsin, who is one of the sales engineers also within the EMEA region, based out of Dubai. My name is James Smith. I am the Sales Director here at MS Distribution, and I'm going to give you a brief overview of what we do. So MS Distribution has been established now for over 15 years. Recently, we have just been made part of the West-based group, which means that we not only offer internal and external networks, but we also have the ability to offer 4G networking. 4G networking is a great add-on to our portfolio because it means that we can now offer a way that we can use router as a monitoring tool, so we can look at monitoring the network, which is great in a wireless ISP type application. So we got the ability to look at the access units on the mast. MS Distribution is a specialist in both local area networks and wide area networks, and obviously the wide area networks is why we're here today, to look at the Mimosa B24 point-to-point as well as the point-to-multipoint products within the portfolio. We have a great pre- and post-sales technical team. On the pre-sale side of things, we have the ability to help with network design, and post-sales we can help with any questions that you have during installation, or if you just need questions answering, we can help with that. So please contact us and we can put you through to the relevant people. Within the sales team, we have dedicated account managers, and part of the investment into people that we offer, we put our account managers through certification for the manufacturers that we sell. We do have an in-house training centre which we offer regular monthly courses here in Banbury. However, if you require bespoke training courses, this is something that we can also do and tailor to your requirements. Part of the ethos here at MS Distribution is all about giving the customer the best possible experience. I've been very fortunate to be on both sides of the coin with MS Distribution. I used to be a customer, and it's all about the customer. The customer is the number one person. Having the privilege of working for MS Distribution, everyone within the organisation is all about focusing on the customer, whether that be the guys in the warehouse when people come and collect the goods, or whether it's the people that you speak to on the phone, the account managers. Everyone is all about the customer. I'm gonna finish now and hand you over to Andrew Westerman. Any questions that you may have, please ask at the end, but thank you very much. Andrew, over to you.
Hello guys, welcome to the webinar. So the format of today's webinar is we're going to give you a quick overview of Mimosa as a company. As James said, I'm responsible for the Mimosa channel business in EMEA. We have an extensive distribution network now across EMEA. And also my colleague Mohsin will be joining us, and he's going to do a deeper dive into the details of the products and the portfolio. And hopefully, you'll go away from this webinar with a good understanding of who Mimosa is as a company, and also a good understanding of the product portfolio, both in the point-to-point space and also the point-to-multipoint space. So you can see from the slide in front of you, the agenda. We're going to give you an overview of the portfolio, both point-to-point and point-to-multipoint. We're going to do a deeper dive on the B24, which is a new product that we've recently introduced, where we're seeing huge demand for this product in EMEA. The 24 gigahertz band it's a license-free band across Europe, and it's a very disruptively priced product, and we really are seeing a huge uptake in sales in this product. Also, we're going to take you through our new antenna, which is the N5360, which gives much better performance in the point-to-multipoint space. And then finally, we'll give you an overview of our cloud and network management and network design tool. Okay, so Mimosa as a company, we are rapidly becoming the worldwide leader in hybrid fiber wireless. And really what we mean by hybrid fiber wireless, we're not saying that you should use fiber instead of wireless or vice versa. It's really about how you put together the best combination of fiber and wireless to achieve the optimum solution. And this type of approach, it's very good in providing fiber fast broadband connectivity, both in urban and suburban areas, and also in hard to reach rural areas. The price performance of our products is very high, far superior often to copper, fiber, and alternative wireless technologies. We believe we offer unbeatable value in terms of price and performance, and also in terms of efficiency, use of spectrum, and ease of deployment. When you add that all together, we think we've got a pretty compelling proposition in our product portfolio. Okay, so in terms of the history of Mimosa, it was actually founded in 2012. So the company's been around for a few years, but we've really only been selling for probably around the last 3 years or so. The company was founded by NEA and Oak, which are large venture capitalist companies in Silicon Valley. And the company has been really successful. We now have over 6,000 ISP and enterprise customers, and we have links deployed in over 190 countries. We have a global footprint, and that's based on our headquarters in Santa Clara in San Francisco, and also we have an Istanbul development office. And from a support perspective, that allows us to offer a follow the clock or follow the sun support service, where we've got people in the US time zone and also in the European time zone in Istanbul. And most of them will give you more detail on that later in the webinar. Okay, so if you look at the heritage of Mimosa and also the people involved in Mimosa, it's a very carrier-centric DNA. The founders grew up through the evolution of the broadband industry, through the ADSL era, the VDSL2 era, and also the fiber to the home era. And the company has really tried to come up with a product portfolio that offers the industry leading CapEx level, and also included in that value, we're very much focused on offering low OpEx and spectral efficiency. And when we say low OpEx, it's ease of installation, it's ease of operation, offering an overall lower OpEx level when you're using the Mimosa products compared to others. Company's very passionate about subscriber experience. We offer round-the-clock support, and we're very focused on achieving a high level of customer satisfaction. And really, that's our mission. We want to be a strategic partner. We want to be a value-added partner, helping to make you, our customers, successful, and helping you build cost-effective hybrid fiber wireless access networks. So here's a quick overview of the executive team within Mimosa. So you have our CEO, Brian Hinman. He's been very successful throughout his career. You can see in the top right, he was the founder of 2Wire, Polycom. Both of those companies, have grown from startups to very large companies. Brian's wife, Tabitha, is our Chief Marketing and Chief Legal Officer. Jamie Fink was the CTO in 2Wire. He's now joined Mimosa and was actually one of the founders with Brian. And then you've got Eric Williams, our CFO, Eric Presworski, our Chief Product Officer, John Colvin, our SVP of Sales and Operations, and On Mutaba, our SVP of Engineering. So it's a very strong team, a very experienced team, and these guys have been through a number of companies and made them successful from the ground up. So, the company has a very strong and experienced team behind it, which we hope is going to help us become even more successful. So why Mimosa? We believe we have the leading technology, not just in terms of price and operational costs, but also, in terms of spectral efficiency, our products are around 1/10 of the cost of LTE-based solutions. We are growing very fast. We have a very good growth rate now, and as I mentioned earlier, we have installed now over 100,000 units, and we're well on our way now to seeing links in use in over 200 countries around the world. And also on top of that, as we just mentioned, we have a very experienced and proven team behind the company, and we think that combination will allow us to grow more and more and turn into a very successful company. So in terms of the recognition, we are growing very fast. As I say, we have a lot of customers out there now, and we've started to see, a lot of industry recognition. And you can see a number of accolades here, both from Wispalooza, the Red Herring Awards, the World Economic Forum, and the Wireless Broadband Alliance. So, the recognition is there. Not just from customers purchasing the products, but also industry forums and industry organizations. And we expect this recognition to continue as we continue to grow. So at this point, I'm going to hand over to my colleague Mohsin, who is one of our pre-sales engineers for EMEA. Mohsin's going to give you an overview of the architecture that we are promoting, and also the product portfolio, and also take you through some, bit of a deeper dive into the technical features of the products and how they can be used. So I'll hand over to Mohsin at this point.
Okay, thank you very much, Andrew, and I would like to thank everyone for joining the webinar. So let's discuss the Mimosa's end-to-end fixed hybrid fiber wireless solution to connect dense urban, suburban, and hard-to-reach rural areas with fast and easy deployment, and also quick return on investments. On the left-hand side, as you can see, is our Mimosa Cloud for management and network orchestration that allows us to monitor the whole wireless network. Typically, your service provider will have an optical backbone for transporting the broadband where it needs to be. If we talk about the rural deployment, typically there is a regional fiber that ends at some point, because then it's too costly to run fiber to each and every home. So then the backhaul is typically point-to-point wireless link. And in point-to-point wireless, we have different options from integrated to connectorized versions. And we also support different frequencies for licensed and unlicensed bands. Then when you reach the communities with point-to-point backhaul, then you need to distribute the traffic to each and every home or subscriber. Now that's the job of our point-to-multipoint access point connected to several point-to-multipoint client units. The client units, or the CPEs, are usually installed on outside the walls or on the rooftops. Then to give connectivity inside the homes, you have the Wi-Fi access point, or we call it the G2, through which you can connect your mobile phones, your tablets, your laptops, and other Wi-Fi enabled devices. So this is kind of a typical end-to-end picture of how wireless is done, specifically in rural kind of deployment. So then there are some interesting scenarios where the service providers have fiber very close to the communities. They have regional fibers, but also they have metro fibers where they have reached the cabinets. Now here, the hard and the costly part is to run fiber to every home. In this case, when you have fiber to the cabinets in the residential areas, that's a great point to put your point-to-multipoint access point and deliver fiber fast wireless to the subscribers. This is why we call it hybrid fiber wireless, because you are doing fiber to the point where you can reach where it's cost effective, and then where it ends, you do wireless with fiber-like quality. So these are some of the scenarios in which our customers have mostly deployed Mimosa radios. It's not only limited to this, but this have been the most. So the first one is rural technology, the rural areas. The rural technology is really game-changing in terms of scalability that Mimosa can help to deliver. The rural POPs are usually on more formal cellular towers or man-made towers, or the more like water towers these days. This is what we call the gigapop solution, where your low-density clients are based at far distances. So we have our point-to-multipoint access point, which is connectorized. You connect it with sector antenna. You can reach really far distances. Then we have the suburban solutions. Coming to the suburban, and this is what we call the micropop, actually, where you have high client density in short distances. The service providers can really deliver fixed wireless at a fraction of cost of fiber. Then we also have building-to-building connectivities. The customer are using our products for building-to-building connectivity in licensed and unlicensed frequencies. The distance is not only limited to short ranges, because our backhaul and access products both have connectorized versions, so the distance is really limited to the antenna that you are using. Then, of course, for the public safety, we are seeing a lot of interest from municipalities and wireless ISPs to partner together and provide connectivity for smart cities, be it smart meter reading or citywide Wi-Fi or video surveillance in case. The name Mimosa comes from the word called MIMO, because we were very much inspired by this technology. Basically, MIMO means multiple input, multiple output. This allows to have multiple transmit and receive chains, thus increasing reliability and data throughput. Currently, our radio have 4x4 MIMO technology, which allows to send 4 discrete data streams in the air at the same time. The second is the TDMA, which allow us to have spectral efficiency. As we know, we need to be very efficient with the over-the-air resources, as it's quite a precious commodity. So our MAC is TDMA, which is time division multiple access. And this allows us to have more control over the time slots that are allocated in each direction. Unlike the Wi-Fi CSMA protocol or the legacy frequency division duplex radios, our radios can have more resources allocated to downlink than uplink, and vice versa. This is very important in modern day wireless because as a home subscriber, you have more downlink requirement as you are streaming 4K videos, you do real-time gaming, etc., etc. On the other hand, if your application is video surveillance, then all your need is uplink to transfer live video streams from cameras to the NVRs, and the downlink is minimal. The third piece is the sync, and this is a very important part. This allows us to reuse the spectrum. As we all know, the unlicensed spectrum is quite crowded in most of the countries, so we need to reuse the available clean spectrum. Our radios can have synchronization because they have built-in GPS and GLONASS chip, and they can synchronize their transmissions. The problem comes when at the co-located side, one radio is transmitting and the other is receiving, thus creating interference for one another. Without GPS sync, you have to use a new channel or a new frequency for each and every co-located link or an access point. But with our GPS sync technology, you can literally reuse the same channel over and over again. The final piece of the puzzle is our Mimosa Cloud for network orchestration. You can manage and monitor your radios from the cloud, including upgrading firmware remotely. Besides this, it allows us to see the behavior of the network and do troubleshooting. For example, if a subscriber is not aimed properly and is causing problem for the overall network with airtime, I will talk more about this in the later slides. So these 4 technologies are really what Mimosa is about. This makes our radios efficient and easy to deploy. So let's talk about some of the ABCs of Mimosa's products. So we want to make sure we speak the same language. So A is for access. So these are our point-to-multipoint access points. If there is a digit after the first alphabet, it means that represents the frequency. So A5 means this is a point-to-multipoint access point in 5 gigahertz. Then if there is an alphabet after the digit, like C, it means this is connectorized version of the access point. So basically we have 2 access points, the A5, the integrated version, and A5C is the connectorized version. Then B stands for backhaul. So the B5C is the backhaul radio in 5 gigahertz, which is connectorized. B5 is the integrated version of the backhaul in 5 gigahertz. B24 is a 24 gigahertz radio, which we recently launched. B5 Lite is a smaller version with small antenna of the B5. Then we have the B11, which is the 11 gigahertz backhaul radio. C5C, actually C stands for client, as you can see, but the C5C can be used as a point-to-point and a point-to-multipoint radio at the same time. So, sorry, by using a single hardware only, there is a firmware upgrade that needs to be done. So you can use it as a point-to-multipoint client or a backhaul radio as well. So as I said, C stands for client, and then C5 is the integrated version, and C5C is the connectorized version of the point-to-multipoint client. G stands for gateway, or our Wi-Fi access points that reside inside the home, and you can connect your mobile phone, laptops, or tablets to the G2. NMS is our cloud management system for network orchestration. I will talk more about this. And then finally, we have the network design tool in which you can design your network even before your deployment. So you will see the status and you will see how much performance you should expect and how much distance can you go. So this represents just generally the backhaul portfolio. We have spaced our backhaul products in two spaces. So the first one is the high reliability products. We call them high reliability because they have dual chains. I'll talk more about this in the coming slides. So they can give you 1.7 gigabits per second PHY rate, 1.5 gigabits per second IP throughput. All of them have GPS and GLONASS chip for synchronization. And they are very rugged in design because they are rated IP67 for ingress protection. B11, as I said, is the licensed backhaul in 11 gigahertz. Then we have the B5C. So the B11 and B5C are connectorized versions. So the distance really depends on the antenna that you are using. Then we have the B5, which has integrated antenna, so it's limited to 10 to 12 kilometers. And then we have the B24, which again has integrated antenna, and it's limited to 3 kilometers or 2 miles. Then besides this, we have the cost-effective solutions, which have great performance, but at the same time, they are very low in cost. And they can give you like 700 Mbps IP throughput, and they have very low power draw, very ideal for like solar or battery backup deployment. They are IP55 rated. So the C5C, as I said, can also be used as a point-to-point radio. You can hook up with any RPSMA connector antenna, and then you can go really long distances. The B5 Lite is integrated version, and it's really recommended for like 5 to 6 kilometers. And please note that when we talk about these distances, this means in these distances, you will get the maximum capacity or the maximum performance. So MCS 7, 8, 9 kind of performance. Of course, you can go longer distances, but then the capacity will drop off. So going a bit deep into our high reliability backhaul solutions, these are our high reliability backhaul solutions. We call them high reliability because if you see down on the slide, it says dual link with 2 into 2 and with arrowheads. So this means these radios can operate on 2 non-contiguous channels at the same time. So if you have interference on one of the channel, you will have the other channel most probably not interfered, and the link will still be up. So even if you have one channel on non-DFS bands and you have another channel on the DFS band, and if you occur to have a DFS hit, then you will still have the link up because your other channel will still be up, and then it will automatically find another clean and clear channel and it will switch to that. So that's why we call them high reliability backhaul solution, and these are 4 into 4 MIMO solutions. So the B5 is the integrated version of the 5 gigahertz backhaul radio. It has a 25 dBi antenna, and of course it has GPS and GLONASS chip for synchronization. The frequency range is 5.1 to 5.8. Then if you need to go long distances in the 5 gigahertz, we have the B5C, which is the connectorized version of the B5. So you can hook up with any dual polarity N-type connector antenna, and you can really go long distances. The frequency range is very much extended. It's from 4.9 to 6.2 gigahertz. Then, as we know, the 5 gigahertz is quite crowded in most of the countries. So then you need to migrate to different frequencies, and you need to have licensed solutions. So for that, we have our B11 product, which ranges from 10 to 11.7 gigahertz. We have different recommendations of antennas since it has a waveguide connector. So you can go through our website and see different recommendation of antennas. The latency is very, very low. It's less than 1 millisecond round trip time. And then also we have the B24, which we recently launched, which is in the unlicensed 24 gigahertz. So actually from 24.05 to 24.25 gigahertz. And as I said, all of them has GPS and GLONASS chips, so you can really do the synchronization and co-location. So going a bit deep into the B24, because this is the recent in our product portfolio. So the B24 was really designed to go a bit long distance rather than having a millimeter wave radio, which is really limited to like 500 meters or so. So this will perform much better in rain conditions than a millimeter wave because it's in 24 gigahertz. The millimeter waves are in 60 or 70 gigahertz. But this is really designed to have like a discrete, nice and smart installation. Because of its integrated antenna, which is 33 dBi, it's limited to 3 kilometers or 2 miles, so really for short hauls. Of course, it has the GPS and GLONASS chip, so you can co-locate up to 8 radios on the same tower. And also it has the dynamic bandwidth or the TDMA MAC, so you can allocate more downlink than uplink and vice versa, unlike the FDD radios. As I said, it's very small and a small form factor, very nice design. It weighs only 2.7 kgs, so it's very easy in installation as well. It can give you up to 1.5 gigabits per second of IP throughput, aggregate IP throughput. In one direction, really, you can go up to 1 gigabits per second, and it can give you very low latencies, less than 1 millisecond. The power draw is also very low. It's 19.5 watts, so it's very nice for like installation where you don't have a power supplies and you need to do solar or battery backup. So it have very low power draw. The one other very good thing about B24 is you have the fiber port, so you can plug it has the SFP port, so you can directly plug in your fiber connection. The beam width is the 3 dB beam width is 3 degrees slant 45, and it's compatible with 802.380 PoE power over Ethernet. So let's talk about some of the applications where B24 fits really great. The first one, of course, is the fixed wireless broadband backhauling. This is when the service providers have to do backhauling for up to 3 kilometers or 2 miles with really high capacity, so 1 gigabits per second of capacity, or they can use it to serve different micropops, which I will show you in some next slides. The second application is smart city connectivity. So these are generally in dense cities where you cannot tear up streets to put fiber, but you need a fiber-like wireless connectivity in short distances. This might be for smart meter reading or for video surveillance on the streets. The third is the B24 is also a great for enterprise connectivity and multi-dwelling units, rooftops connections. Then it's also a great solution for backhauling for video surveillance and Wi-Fi hotspot distributions. The B24 is ideal for backhauling multiple HD video streams. And our customers have really great success using the B24 for video surveillance and other applications as well. Finally, the B24 is also a great product for connecting different buildings inside a campus. So if you have to connect different buildings and you don't want to tear up some place to run fiber, you can use the B24 to connect different buildings and get gigabit capacity. So this is what I was talking about in the previous slides. Since the B24 has GPS and GLONASS chips, so you can literally co-locate up to 8 B24 radios. So either due to TDMA technology, we can control when they transmit and when they receive. So when they are synchronized, they will be either transmitting or receiving at the same time, so they don't create interference for one another. And this is a very nice scenario. The purple lines that you see can be 1 gigabits per second, 24 gigahertz backhauls that serve different micropops. So if you have to give connectivity in this suburban kind of scenario, you will have essentially have a central location where you will have fiber or a millimeter wave fed, and then you have to distribute the traffic to different micropops. So B24 is a great product for that. And B24 is also great in this sense because you're not transmitting in 5 gigahertz. So you will have really clean channels, and you will have some spectrum spare for the 5 gigahertz as well. Then of course we have the licensed B11 backhaul link, which ranges from 10 to 11.7 gigahertz. Of course, sometimes you just cannot get rid of the crowded spectrum in 5 gigahertz, which is unlicensed, so you need to move to the licensed frequencies. So B11 is really a nice product, which is very cost efficient as well, and it's really the best price performance ratio wise product in the market in 11 gigahertz. And it's really, since it's connectorized, so it's really meant for long distances. Of course, you can use it for short or mid distances, depending upon the antenna that you are using. And it of course has the GPS and GLONASS chip, so you can do co-location and synchronization. And as our other backhaul radios, it has the dynamic bandwidth control versus the frequency division duplex, so you can allocate more bandwidth in downlink direction rather than uplink direction, and vice versa. It can give you 1.5 gigabits per second aggregate IP throughput with 1 gigabits in each direction, and the latency can be less than millisecond if you are using it in the auto mode. The power draw is also very low as compared to other vendors backhaul radios in licensed spectrum. So it's the maximum is 30 watts. So it's also quite efficient for solar or battery backup kind of deployment. And of course, it has the SFP port to have direct fiber connection. You will need to have the Ethernet connectivity for sure, because that's where the powers or the PoE comes in, but you can have data either on the Ethernet or the fiber. So coming to our access solutions, these are our point to multipoint access points. As I said in the previous slides, A5 is our integrated point to multipoint access point. We call it a quad sector access point. We don't call it an omnidirectional access point because it has 90-degree sectors and it covers the whole 360 degrees. So it has 14 dBi antenna, integrated antenna, so it's really meant for like short distances, micropop solutions up to 300 to 400 meters. And again, as I said, when I talk about distances, this is when you will get the maximum capacity, so MCS 8 or 9 kind of rates. And of course, it has the GPS and GLONASS chips, so you can do co-location and synchronization. So you don't have to use a new frequency each time you are installing a new AP. So you can literally reuse the same frequency because the access points will be synchronized. Then if you need to go long distances, or if you have sectors, if you want to do sectors, then we have the A5C, which is the connectorized version of the A5. It has 4 ports N-type connectors, so you can hook up with a 4-port antenna to have any sectors, like you can have 30, 60, 90, or 120 degree sectors depending upon your need. And the frequency range is very much extended. It's from 4.9 to 6.2 gigahertz. So to include the public safety band as well, 4.9 gigahertz, which is very much required these days. Then on the client side, or the customer premises equipments, we have, again, the integrated version and the connectorized version depending upon your need. So the C5 is the point to multipoint client. It's meant for short distances. If you are using with the A5, like you can use it up to 500 to 1 kilometer kind of distances because it has a 20 dBi integrated antenna. Then if you need to go long distances, of course, you can use the C5C, which is the connectorized point to multipoint client. You can hook up with any antenna and you can really go long distances. Again, the frequency range is quite extended. It's from 4.9 to 6.2 gigahertz. They don't have the GPS chip built in, but they are GPS clients, sync clients for the A5 and the A5C. So they get the sync information from their access points, which will be the A5 or the A5C. So going a bit deep into the point-to-multipoint client C5, so it has integrated 20 dBi antenna. The TX power is 24 dBm. So the EARP can be up to 44 dBm where allowed. And it can give you really fiber fast speed up to 500 plus Mbps. The power draw is also very low, like 15, maximum is 15 watts. It's IP55 rated. And it looks very nice and smart when installed outside the homes where where the customers doesn't want to have like connectorized large dishes on their rooftops. So this is a very nice discrete installation, and it weighs only 0.72 kilograms, so it's very easy to install as well. So C5C is our connectorized client. It has dual RPSMA connectors. The specs are the same as the C5, but the TX power is more, it's 27 dBm. And of course, it can give you 500 Mbps of throughput to your clients. It's really meant for long range clients because the antenna defines the distance. So if you are using it in a sector and you use high gain antenna with the C5, you can really go long distances. And the frequency range is again extended from 4.9 to 6.2 gigahertz. And it's a GPS sync client for the A5 or the A5C. So N5360 is our latest antenna that we recently launched. It's specially designed for the A5C, which is our connectorized point-to-multipoint access point. It has 4 ports because the A5C has 4 ports. The A5C has a beamforming algorithm in it, but to support that beamforming algorithm, you need to have a really good antenna. That's where the N5360 comes into play. It's 4-stream beamforming 360-degree antenna. Again, we don't call it an omni antenna because it can do beamforming. Beamforming has really some good benefits in wireless because when it's transmitting to the client, it's transmitting only, it forms a beam towards the client and it transmits only in that beam in that client direction. So it doesn't create interference all around in 360 degrees, and it doesn't get interference from all 360 degrees. So it's really beneficial in kind of environments where the interference level is a bit high. So you can do beam forming and reduce your level of interference. And it ensures 2 equal streams, MCS streams per client, so giving you more reliability. And this is basically to increase your radius of the micropops from like 300 meters on the A5 to 500 meter to 1 kilometer radius. So comparing it with the A5, let's see, the A5 is really designed for small residential micropops where the coverage distance is not more than like 300 or 400 meters. And it's very for discrete deployments where the tenants doesn't want to have large dishes installed on their rooftops, which doesn't look good. So it's integrated smart design, and you can install it on rooftops, and you can give clients connectivity within 300 to 400 meter radius. Then for the scenarios where you need to increase your micropop radius, so you can use the A5C with the N5360 antenna, and it can increase, give you 40% more coverage again with the because it has 15 dBi antenna, and then with the beamforming you get an extra 3 dB of gain. And in wireless, we know 3 dB of extra gain is 50% better signal. So it's really to increase the performance and widen up your coverage area. So this slide basically summarizes the distances relationship between the client and the access ports, because usually we are being asked which access point should we use for this much if we have to cover this much distances, and which client should we use. So this basically summarizes the distances. So if you are using, like, if you have short ranges like 300 to 400 meters, and you have the A5 with the C5, so that would be you will get MCS 8 or 9 rates in 300 to 400 meters. Then there are scenarios where there is a foliage or there are trees, the signal strength is reduced. So in order to get better signal strength and to increase your performance, you can use a C5C as your client and connect it to high gain antenna, so you can literally push your signals. If there are trees or if there is foliage, you will get better signal to noise ratio. This is kind of for micropop solution. Then for the gigapops or the rural solutions where your clients are basically in one direction and they are far away from your towers or from your access points, then you connect the A5C with the sector antenna, depending upon where the sector will depend, of course, upon how spread your clients are. And then if you use it with the C5, you can go to mid ranges like 5, 6, 7 kilometers. And if you really need to go long distances like 15 kilometers, 16 kilometers, you can use the A5C with the sector antenna, then the C5C with a high gain antenna. So you can really go long distances with high performance. So in summary of our solution, let's see, and this stands for both our backhauls and for our access explorers. So we are best in performance, price performance in the industry. So performance is not the only thing, as we know. The performance should be affordable as well to implement. Then all our products are very robust and they are carrier class for the harshest of environments. So you can have them in very hot and very cold conditions. And then, of course, depending upon the needs, you can use our licensed or unlicensed solutions to optimize different applications and needs. And we have a whole range of products from point-to-point backhauls to point to multi-point access points, and allowing you to have end-to-end solutions. So really from your data centers to the customer homes or the customer mobiles, we are covering you with our solution. So this is just a part of the ecosystem, of the end-to-end ecosystem that I described. So this is the client or the customer premises installation, where on the left side you can see a client radio. This is a C5 with integrated antenna. You can usually install it on the sidewall or on of the rooftops. We have different mounting options. This one is, which you are seeing in the picture, is a flexi mount. This can also be mounted on the wall, and it can also be mounted on the pole, on a vertical or horizontal pole as well. So it's kind of very flexible mounting. Then we also have the J mount. Then you connect it with the gigabit NID or network interface device, which has the ESD protection. So if there are any lightning surges nearby, that will be grounded, and you don't have any liability inside the home. You don't burn anything inside the home because of your equipment outside. So the grounding is outside. And then finally, on the right side, you can see is the G2, which is the Wi-Fi access point. So it serves basically two purposes. It has a PoE port to power up the C5 or the C5C outside the home, and it provides Wi-Fi inside the home to the customer. So you can connect your mobile phone, tablets, or other Wi-Fi enabled devices for streaming or any other applications. Then, of course, if you have you want to cover a wider area, you can connect multiple G2s to this, and you can cover wider area as well. So installation streaming. This is a streaming feature which with our Mimosa install app. This app is available both for iOS and Android. As we are a problem solver, so we aimed at reducing the amount of time it takes to install the radios, specifically the client radios, because that's usually high in number. So the Mimosa install app is a guided installation process. You can download and push the firmware directly from the mobile app. The app will unlock the client radio automatically. You can also have predefined templates to automate device configuration. It also provides audible aim and connect, so you can audibly hear the signal strength in dBm, so your hands are free to the installation and aiming. So let's talk about some of the management features in Mimosa. We have a built-in Mimosa cloud for management and monitoring. We have different features and functionalities, one of which is pushing firmware from Mimosa cloud in a batch rather than doing individual firmware upgrade. So you can select group of radios and schedule the upgrade at a feasible time. And then, of course, you can anticipate bulk of EMS and fault systems and have alerts with SNMP and different APIs. So the cloud management Our Cloud Manage is very easy to use and allow you to get historical and RF data. It's a great tool for troubleshooting as well. So for example, you can see the spectrum data, signal to noise ratio, fire rates, throughput, etc. for all your backhaul access and client radios. And if your client link is down or performing low, you can go back in time and see the possible cause of the issue. We provide very advanced firmware management where you not only can upgrade the firmware on your radios, but you can also schedule the upgrade. From monitoring standpoint, you can monitor your whole network and your radios can see if any link is down due to connectivity issue. Then we also have the ability to monitor your in-home Wi-Fi health if you have deployed the G2, which is the Wi-Fi access point. We can actually show you the signal strength of each and every client connected to the G2. That's a very valuable data. You might have a customer complaining about poor signals because they might have a G2 installed at a place in a home like garage or basement. Actually, that's a good time to connect another G2 to increase the coverage. We also have the ability to run client health statistics and round trip latencies. So basically, the client management is designed to make the service provider life very easy. So this is how our cloud, the Mimosa cloud, gets data from the G2. So the G2, which is the Wi-Fi access point, which resides inside the homes of the subscriber, it collects information from all the clients that it's connected to. It passes that information to the C5, which is the point-to-multipoint client unit, and all the C5 that are connected to the A5, they pass their data to the A5 or the A5C, and then the A5 or the A5C can transfer the data to the Mimosa cloud. So this is kind of a whole change of monitoring and management. So from your cloud, in case if here is a backhaul, so from the cloud you can monitor your backhauls, then you can monitor your access points, then you can monitor your client or CPE devices, and then the Wi-Fi access points, and then of course you can monitor each and every client that is connected to the G2. So it's a very powerful tool for monitoring and management. So last but not least, we have award-winning support team with whom you can directly chat, which are available on the chat box is available on our website. You can email, you can have phone support, and talking about support, these are real people. It's not just like kind of a blog where you just mention something and you get a reply after 2 days or 3 days asking you to if you have upgraded your firmware. So these are real people chatting with you and talking to you in real time. We have RF experts, we have network experts. Most of the answers are really answered in like 2 minutes. Then besides this, we have regional field engineers as well who can come on site and help you and do product qualification and trainings as well. Then I really recommend going on to our website, which has extensive knowledge base, and we have extended support for like whatever you need to know about our products or anything. Then as you can see, you can learn more about fixed wireless networks on our website. There are lots of case studies, and you can see what other customers are, how they are using our products, and what performances are they getting. And of course, as I said, you can talk to an expert from the support as well. Okay, thank you very much. That was all from my side. Then I'll hand over to Rochelle. Of course, we might have many questions, so let's start up the question and answer session.
Great. Thank you so much, Mohsen. And Andrew and James, thanks for getting us started. So we have a few minutes left before the top of the hour, and we want to be mindful of everyone's time. So thanks for listening in, but we do have a couple of questions. So Mohsen, let's get started with the first one. So what do you think is the biggest barrier to entry for an ISP to transition to fixed wireless?
Well, I think is the biggest barrier is like the technology. Some people are scared of the technology because, as I said, there have been different myths that wireless is not viable, it's not reliable, and you might have low performances if there are more clients connected. So I think it's more about getting them learn about the technology. And as I said, Mimosa technology, we aim to make it very easy to understand and easy to deploy. So yeah, I think with most people can really feel easy and to deploy and learn about the technology.
Great. Here's another question that maybe James, you might want to jump in on as well. But with fiber being deployed in many markets, are there enough communities to make fixed wireless viable?
Yeah, I think particularly around the edges of suburban areas, we see a lot of examples. If we take the UK, for example, there are a lot of business parks around the UK that have very poor broadband. They were built literally without thinking of the high bandwidth communication needs that we have today. We have the rural areas, but also in the city areas as well. We see a lot of fixed wireless application. Both for areas that do not have good broadband, for businesses that want higher speed broadband. Also, the video surveillance market within cities is growing very fast, and we see a lot of applications for that. So there really is, a lot of applications across the board with these type of products. I would say the two major verticals are the broadband, both for business and residential, but also the video surveillance. Those are the two big areas. And then I guess closely behind that is the enterprise connectivity market.
What's also good as well with the Mimosa kit is this was discussed at UK Whisper, and one of the topics was about the bandwidth that we can get here in the UK with fibre. Mimosa is a standard, can give 100 meg. So with that, we've not only got the ability to do fibre to the cab, with enough planning, we've also got the ability to offer fibre to the home. So with the use of the Mimosa technology, we've now got the ability to deliver a cost-effective, high throughput wireless ISP solution.
Excellent. Thank you for that answer. So this might be a better question for Mohsin. What is the number of clients supported by A5 and A5C?
Okay, so both the A5 and the A5C, they support two modes of operation. So one is the Wi-Fi interop mode, and the other is our GPS sync, or we call it the SRS mode. So in the Wi-Fi interop mode, you can connect up to 100 clients, and they can be a mix of Mimosa and third-party clients. In the TDMA or GPS sync mode or the SRS mode, you can connect up to 44 clients, and they can only be Mimosa C5 or the C5Cs.
Excellent. Thank you. Another question for you, Mohsin. Do you have any antenna recommendations for A5C and B11?
Yeah, sure. So we specifically for B11, since it has a waveguide connector, so we have partnered up with Jirus and Radio Wave. So you can see if you go actually to our website and go to the accessories, and then there is an option for compatible with antennas. You can select a product and you can see different recommendations of antennas. For B11, we have different antennas from Jirus, like from 1 feet to 4 feet. And then, of course, for A5C, we have tested different antennas, one being like KB Performance and MTI sector antennas. So there are different recommendations which have been tested by us and by our customers. And you can see the recommendations on our website as well.
Mohsin, I've got a quick question as well. You mentioned in the slides about the G2s, and when you're looking to extend connectivity, you can add another G2.
Yep.
How many G2s can you have in a home environment, and can they all be managed?
Yeah, so you can have, you can manage them all, and you can have up to 2 more G2s connected to one master G2. So you can really extend your coverage area inside your homes, inside your home, by connecting 2 more G2s in repeater modes.
Perfect. So that's 3 in total, and I assume the fact that it's meshing, the throughput gets dropped by half each time, or not?
Exactly. Yeah. So that's kind of normal physics. It's kind of understood. So the more meshes you do, you drop off the capacity by half, but then of course you get the coverage outside over there. So yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
Excellent. And we are right at the top of the hour. So I want to thank our sponsor, MS Distribution. Thank you so much for having Mimosa. Andrew, Mosin, James, thank you for being our presenters today. Please do feel free to reach out if you have any questions or concerns. And we look forward to seeing you again in a future event. Thank you so much.